Josh had lived alone for 3 years, ever since his last roommate left suddenly in the middle of the night. No explanation, just packed bags and a hasty departure. The only thing he left behind was the refrigerator. It was an old model, the kind with heavy doors and yellowed plastic lining. It worked fine, so Josh never saw a reason to replace it, until the humming started. At first, it was barely noticeable, a low vibration when he walked past, nothing out of the ordinary. But as the weeks passed, the hum deepened, almost like a voice lurking beneath layers of white noise. And then, the smell. It was faint at first, like something had gone off in the back of the fridge. Josh assumed it was an old takeout container, something forgotten behind the milk or jammed in the vegetable drawer. But when he checked, he found nothing. Everything was fresh, untouched, yet the smell persisted, thick and rotten, coating the air like decay. One night, as he lay in bed, half asleep, he heard something. A soft creak, a gentle pop, like a vacuum seal breaking. His eyes snapped open. The refrigerator door was slightly ajar. Josh's stomach twisted. He was sure he had closed it. Slowly, he swung his legs over the side of the bed, padding barefoot toward the kitchen. The fridge door swayed slightly as though it had just been nudged open. His fingers trembled as he grabbed the handle and pulled it wide. The stench poured out in a wave, thick, cloying, unbearable. His stomach lurched, but what made him stagger back wasn't the smell. It was the thing inside. Between the condiments and milk cartons sat a lump of raw, pulsing flesh. It was pink, veiny, glistening with moisture, as if it had just been torn from something alive. His breath hitched in his throat as he reached for it with a paper towel. The moment he touched it, it moved. A twitch, a slow, undulating shift, as if it were breathing. Josh yelped, dropping the towel. His heart pounded in his chest as he grabbed a trash bag and dumped the thing inside, tying it tight and shoving it deep into the outdoor bin. For the rest of the night, he sat awake in bed, every muscle in his body tense. The fridge hummed louder than ever. The next morning, everything seemed normal. The fridge was closed. The smell was gone. The shelves were clean. And then he saw it. A single, raw eye embedded in the butter compartment, staring at him. Josh's stomach turned. His body locked up in sheer horror. His mind screamed at him to look away, to slam the door shut, to burn the thing to the ground. Instead, he stared back. The eye was wet, glossy, with a deep black pupil that expanded as though recognizing him. And then, it blinked. Josh screamed and stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. His phone shook in his hands as he frantically searched online for answers, but nothing made sense. There were old urban legends, cryptic Reddit threads about haunted fridges, but no explanations, no solutions. That night, he swore he wouldn't go near it. He locked his bedroom door. He turned up the volume on his TV. It didn't matter. At 3:12 a.m., a slow, wet whisper slithered through the walls. Hungry. Josh bolted upright, heart hammering. Something was moving in the kitchen, not the skittering of rats, not the hum of an old appliance. This was something alive, a thick, deliberate shifting, like wet skin dragging across linoleum. The whisper came again, closer, hungry. Josh grabbed a knife from his nightstand. He didn't know what good it would do, but the cold steel in his hand gave him a sliver of courage. He crept toward the kitchen. The fridge door was wide open. Inside, the shelves were gone. The condiments, the milk, the leftovers, all gone. Instead, the inside stretched into a dark, pulsing tunnel, a long, twisting cavity of flesh lined with teeth. Josh gagged, stumbling back. The sides of the fridge quivered as something deep within shifted, hungry, waiting. The whisper came again, wet and writhing. "You left me hungry." Josh turned and ran. He sprinted out of the apartment, down the stairs, into the cold night air, not stopping until he reached the street, panting, shaking. He didn't go back. Not in the morning. Not the next day. Not ever. He called the landlord, made up a story about urgent relocation, and booked a flight across the country. He never even went back to grab his things. But weeks later, across the country, in a brand new apartment with brand new appliances, Josh heard something familiar. A faint hum. A low, rhythmic vibration. He turned, his breath hitching. The fridge. It wasn't the same model. It wasn't even from the same brand. But it was humming. And when he opened it, there, tucked between the milk and the butter tray, a single, raw eye blinked. Check yours. It might be hungry.